This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Welcome to the living room. This is the Simply Superior Acuff House studio. It sits on the this grounds that we are on. It really, as it relates to country music, is holy ground. You know what I mean? The Grand Ole Opry House in Nashville, Tennessee. WSM Radio and the Opry celebrating 100 years, and we'd love for you to come be a part of that celebration somewhere along the way. Going to London, Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah, Prince Albert was a tobacco. Royal Albert Hall.
And an Opry sponsor.
Yes. Royal Albert Hall. I think that's where the Beatles famously played, and John Lennon had the great line, those of you up in the cheap seats can clap. Those of you in expensive seats just rattle your jewelry.
They asked McCartney once, said, Paul, what kind of money are you making? What do you do with all that money? He goes, well, the Queen gets most of it.
This is true. That's why they moved here for a while, right? Yeah.
Well, a lot of folks making news. Trisha Yearwood, Kid Rock, and Tony Hazelden has passed away.
Yeah,
that's a name you'll know from That's My Story, and I'm sticking to it. He wrote that. Colin Ray had the hit on it. He and Leroy Parnell co-wrote that. Keith Whitley's It Ain't Nothing. You Know Me Better Than That. George Strait, Tony Hazelden songs, and we'll look back on his life and career here in a little bit. Anderson East has come to call. Worthy. Been waiting for a while for this album, and it comes out May 30th.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've met him very briefly one time, but really you take a great singer-songwriter with a producer he loves working with, Dave Cobb, and put them in Muscle Shoals at Fame, and you get a great record.
Well, he's from Athens, so he didn't have to go far.
That's true, yeah. I wonder if he went to the Buc-ee's when Keith Urban was there. We'll have to ask.
I wanted to go, but I couldn't get in. Anderson East is on the way. A little later on this morning, the Lovell sisters, Megan and Rebecca. That's Larkin Poe. That's how you know them. Grammy Award winners last year with Blood Harmony.
They're going to be your pick of the week in about a half hour.
Yes,
too.
they are. Absolutely. A single from their brand new album, Bloom, and that tour is about a week away at the Ryman Auditorium. That's what's ahead, and here in a little bit. You don't have to wait long to get it.
More Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
And excited to meet for the first time. I don't know where I've been that I've not crossed paths with him before now to say hello and introduce myself. But Anderson East just sat down on Coffee, Country, and Cody from the Assembly Food Hall stage, and Wood from the Ryman Auditorium circa the 50s. And we were just talking about how you had played the Ryman with Holly Williams.
Yeah, about 15 or so years ago, it seems like now. Yeah, it was pretty special to do the Opry in the original locale.
And then debuting at the Grand Ole Opry in the new building, which is actually, we've been here a whole lot longer than we were ever at the Ryman Auditorium. Right. People forget that timeline. And you're doing that on Saturday night.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
You got a new album coming out on the 30th called Worthy.
Yes, sir.
It's been 4 years since the last album, so you just been, you lazy or what?
Yeah. Yeah. Sleeping in a lot. Yeah. So it's been good. It's been good. I wish I'd have stayed there.
Now the work begins, right?
Yes,
you get the
sir.
album out and the work begins. We were laughing the other day. Buddy Cannon was saying, Willie Nelson's the only guy he knows that when he finishes an album, that's the end. He starts the next album.
Yeah.
Every other artist finishes an album, then the work begins.
Yeah.
Not with Willie.
Yeah.
But at 92, I guess you can you can write your own rules, right?
He's definitely been playing. I saw the best Willie video. I think I can't remember who was on stage. John Anderson. And Willie's just walking around. And like he goes up to, I think I can't remember what they're playing, but the whole time you're thinking Willie's going to start singing. And he just meanders around. It's the coolest. Just them short shorts, just living it.
Oh, it's almost better that he didn't do anything, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
well, we share a lot in common geographically in that we are both from North Alabama.
Hey, roll Tide.
I was born in Huntsville. My family's a house divided.
Okay, same.
Yeah. Father's side, Alabama. Mother's side, Auburn.
Hey, you're preaching from the same hymnal, man.
So, Athens, Limestone County,
Yes,
Huntsville,
sir.
Madison County right next door.
Yes, sir.
And music, when I saw that your grandfather was a preacher, my daddy was a preacher.
Wow.
But your dad was big in the choir.
Yeah.
Your mother played the piano.
Yes, sir.
So the pastime in the South, for people who don't know that life, is that's what you do. So what do y'all do? We go to church. And then we go a lot.
Yeah. Every time the doors were open, we were there. And yeah.
Is that where you started playing?
Yeah, for the most part. Definitely started singing. You know, I was in all the youth choirs and doing all that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, I kind of got a guitar and, you know, hey, let me try one, you know, that kind of thing. So, yeah, it definitely got its...
Do you have a memorable first solo performance at church?
Me and my sister sang in the garden one time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that was, I can still remember that and being like, oh, that's neat. That's neat.
You know In the Garden, Charlie?
No. See, I grew up Catholic in Providence, Rhode Island. So
okay.
we had a lot of churches, but 99% of them were Catholic. So you'll love this. When I first moved to town.
And it was a lot of songs about Mary.
A lot of songs about Mary. Yeah, we like Mary songs. Yeah, you know, she doesn't get enough credit. But I'm driving in, and I see this church with this big banner, and it said Vacation Bible School, and I'm thinking, I'm like, this is like the coolest thing ever. They're going to send these kids to like Israel and the Holy Land for a week. I'm like, we never did that. And then I realized, no, it's not that at all. So that was my indoctrination.
That's just
to the
for parents
South.
who have jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
In the summertime.
So,
Yeah.
Well, I was listening to the new album. Man, it is so good. And the funny thing was, I was thinking, not only is it great to listen to, this will be a great record to play live. Yeah. And then I just realized that you actually had that opportunity just a few days ago up in Brooklyn. You kind of did the whole thing start to finish.
Yeah, we did. We did that. We also did it here in Nashville. Yeah. We went and played the old basement.
Yeah.
Kind of took it all the way back. But yeah, it's a really fun record to play. I mean, the record is kind of all of us pretty much playing live. Mm-hmm. So it's not like a magic trick to pull it off or anything like that. But yeah, it's really fun, and just kind of the sonic landscape of it just is really comfortable.
And we talked about growing up in North Alabama. You didn't go far to record it because you went to Muscle Shoals with Dave Cobb. How's that friendship begin?
Well, we met, you know, in the most like stereotypical Nashville way. Is, you know, I had a few too many at the Bluebird, and he thought that was great. And so, yeah, I've just spent the last decade or so trying to ruin his career.
Win Barble told me the best story about a guy running off in the ditch, and the cops get there. He's hammered. And he said, "Sir, you appear to be drunk." And he said, "I sure hope so. If not, I just spent $75 for no reason at all."
Amazing.
So what is it about that building? And this is not your first time at Fame, obviously, but you drive up to it, and it's rather, I mean, if it didn't say Fame on it, you wouldn't stop at all, right?
Yeah.
It's rather nondescript, but the juice inside that building has got to be crazy, right? Yeah.
It's an amazing place. It's amazing that like they had the good sense to not do anything to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like the kind of the Hall family.
And that's Rick Hall for people.
Yeah,
who don't
Rick
know,
Hall
famously,
and his son Rodney, who runs the place now. I feel like, you know, at every, you know, evolution of music, they had the opportunity to kind of try to adjust to that, and instead they stuck true to who they were and the legacy that they built, and so now it's, you know, this, you know, kind of modernized time capsule, which is really incredible.
Probably lucky it's there, not here, because it'd be condos probably.
For
in Nashville,
sure.
you know.
For sure.
I'm a huge Elvis fan, and my favorite era of Elvis is that 69, 70 when he was at American Sound in Memphis. That sound they got there, and you know that place is no more. So the fact that not only is Fame still alive, but not as a museum, but as a living, breathing entity, is just really cool.
Did you ever go as a kid to field trip or anything like that?
No, I didn't even know it existed.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, my buddy, when we started like our like middle school band, he was our drummer, Kyle, and his dad played guitar. He was Little Richard's guitar player.
Oh, how about that?
And so they had ended up, they bought what would have been the second iteration of the Muscle Shoals Sound Building down like on the water. And it's still a studio called Cypress Moon now, but you know, we'd go down there for like a Christmas party, you know, when we were teenagers. And then I was like, why did nobody tell me this was here?
Yeah.
You know? And then you start, you know, you're like sitting around and you're like, oh, that's the guy that played that on that record? Like, oh my God, what? This is insane. So yeah, it wasn't like immediate that all this, you know, rich history was just sitting right down the street.
Well, you're headed to the Grand Ole Opry for the very first time. How did the news come to you?
I think through email.
Oh, did it?
Probably.
Well, that's romantic.
Yeah. You know. Well, very modern.
We were talking earlier this morning, while it will be your debut at the Opry, it will not be your first time on that Opry stage, because you were there for Aaron Retier's debut.
Yes, sir.
And that was just such a cool night.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah.
And I want to talk more about these co-writers on this album, too. Worthy, which is out May 30th, and Anderson East, Grand Ole Opry. That's happening Saturday night. Give us a backstory, set up, say I love you. We'll play it for people all over the world.
It's something we should say to everybody.
So it needs to be said. That's what songwriters do. Brevity, baby. Get to the point.
More coffee, country, and Cody is on WSM.
Hey, we continue with Anderson East. The new album is Worthy. It comes out May 30th. That's actually Memorial Day, traditional Memorial Day, and my wife's birthday. Co-produced by Dave Cobb. With Dave Cobb, and making his Opry debut on Saturday night. And you're going to be at the Ryman in August. I know that date pops up on your tour schedule. People go to your website. What are you going to play first this morning?
I'll do a song called Chasing You.
All right. Anderson East, man, thank you. From Worthy. Worthy, the album's out May 30th. He's at the Opry on Saturday. Be back in town to the Ryman in August. So what year did you came to MTSU, if I recall?
Yes, sir.
Right? And weren't you going to be an engineer, a studio engineer? That was
the big plan.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where did that change in songwriting take over?
Well, songwriting kind of came, you know, everything has always kind of revolved around making a record. So if you're gonna, you know, nobody's gonna let you record them, you're gonna have to come up with the things to record. So if you're gonna do that, you got to have a good song. So you got to learn how to do that, and then you got to learn how to play it, and then you got to learn how to sing it. And so everything always stemmed out of making a record.
Ben Folds was big for you, wasn't he?
Yeah, Ben, he was a huge influence.
Yeah.
You know, that Rockin' the Suburbs record was, it's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Well, we were talking about studios earlier, too. We can thank him for saving one of ours in Nashville on Music
Studio
Row
A,
as well.
right?
Yeah. I've worked a lot in there. I'd spent more time than I wish I had in that building.
How deep in the weeds do you get with sequencing and how an album flows, and you know because there's two great vinyl versions that people can pre-order for this as well, and you know where side one ends and what starts side two. To me, that's such a huge thing.
Yeah, it's you know, I kind of like lay everything out in a timeline and just kind of, you know, like try to keep in mind like the story of like what's happening, but then just like how does it feel? Does it feel natural? And you just sort of can tell. And yeah, I love sequencing records. I got to do a bunch of people's records. I did the Stapleton Traveler record, and
You work with Lucas too, right? Lucas Nelson.
yeah. Produced a song that's coming out on his new record, and yeah, that's so fun though, just to kind of like see somebody else's vision and be able to like, oh, this is how I like the story to go. It's like one of those like choose your own adventure thing.
Yeah, I don't always have time, but the first time I listen to something, I like to listen to it how you wanted me to listen to it. And then after that, maybe I'll pick my favorites, but the first time I kind of want to hear it start to finish.
Yeah.
Well, Natalie Hemby, Adam Ratier, Trent Dabbs, Lori McKenna, all as writers on this. But that's a Hall of Fame lineup right there, man.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
What do you think at this moment in time is going on in the mind of Adam Ratier?
Oh, of Aaron? Yeah. God, I don't know, and I don't want to know.
I never met Roger Miller, but his brain seems pretty close.
Yeah. It's you know, I always say I'm so glad he exists, and I'm so glad there's not more of him.
Would you play us one more this morning?
Yes,
That's
sir.
great.
Anderson East, Worthy. It's out May 30th. Anderson East, May 30th, Worthy, full album. First one in 4 years. Will be available wherever you get your music.
If you like songwriters, the Grand Ole Opry will be pretty special on Saturday. Anderson makes his debut. Whispering Bill Anderson, almost 64 years as an Opry member,
Wow.
and Don Schlitz will be there on
Amazing.
Saturday.
See if you can't work up a co-write.
It's going to be a pretty
Yeah,
good night. Yeah.
We'll write one just for the occasion.
It's a pleasure. Thanks
Hey,
for coming
thank
to
you,
see us.
gentlemen,
Please,
for having
please come
me.
back.
Yes, sir.
Anderson East, all over the world, WSM Radio, watching worldwide on Circle Country Television.
This is WSM's Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Hey, from the Acuff House living room, the simply superior Acuff House studio, which sits on the Grand Ole Opry Plaza, where we are celebrating 100 years of WSM Radio in the Grand Ole Opry. And it's perfect. Larkin Poe, Megan and Rebecca just sat down because we met at the Grand Ole Opry. Rebecca and I were in glam together, getting ready for America Salutes You, Billy Gibbons.
That's right.
Was that your first time on the Opry stage?
That may have been.
As Larkin Poe, yeah. Years ago, we got to perform as the Lovell Sisters. But that was, I'm talking ancient, dusty history. Yeah, we were little
So when you
kids.
say the Lovell Sisters, wasn't it a trio in the beginning? You have a sister named Jessica.
Your memory is unbelievable. Unparalleled, yes. Our big sis, Jess.
Yeah. And so how long did you guys perform together before it became a duo?
About 5 years, and it's been 15 years of Larkin Poe, so it's hard to believe, but yeah, we're 15 years in this year.
Congratulations, Grammy Award-winning Larkin Poe, because Blood Harmony was the blues album of the year.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about the Grammy experience.
It was amazing. I think especially because we went in with no preconceived ideas that we might win. It was just such a glorious day. And our parents were there with us and our people. It was a very, very special day.
So who did you meet?
Who didn't we meet? It was really quite spectacular. We're not very fancy people, but being on the red carpet, and we wore matching pinstripe suits, and getting to see all of the glitz and the glam. It was a really amazing day.
So what's the age difference?
We're less than 2 years apart.
Okay.
So we're very close.
Yeah. And then Jessica is the oldest?
That's right.
Yeah. And just the three of you?
Just the three of us plus a little baby brother, much younger.
Oh, okay. Calhoun, Georgia.
That's right.
Tell us about life in Calhoun, Georgia, your family, where music comes into your life and changes your life.
We grew up with music-loving parents, so we're the first generation of music makers, but they were always spinning so much good music for us. So the language of music has been a part of our lives since I can remember. And we grew up singing in a choir, and our mom taught us to sing harmonies together. And we went to a bluegrass festival when we were in our early teens, and that's when our true love of roots music began, and we were just bowled away.
Well, I see you're playing Del Fest, speaking of bluegrass.
Yes.
Bluegrass
Yes.
Hall of Famer Del McCurry has this big festival up in Maryland. I was going to pull it up. I had it up on my, on my computer.
We can't
it's,
wait.
The 24th.
That's right.
A few
We
days
ran
away.
in.
Cumberland, Maryland.
That's right. We ran into those guys at the airport. We saw Ronnie at baggage claim at B&A, and he came over and he was like, "Hey, I know you guys aren't really doing bluegrass per se anymore, but if you'd want to, we'd love to have you at the festival." And Megan and I were like, "Yes,
Please?
sir. We're buying the plane tickets now."
Do you know Del?
We've gotten to meet him a few times, and he is
He's glorious.
the coolest of the cool.
He is just so special. And the best hair ever.
Ever.
So
Hands
good.
down.
Did you know that one time they released Del McCurry bobbleheads?
They did
And
not.
I have one.
You do.
Limited edition. It sits on my bookshelf at home.
Oh,
That's
I
amazing.
don't know that I've ever envied anything more than that. That's amazing.
And the hair is, as his real hair is, perfect. Well, Nashville, Tennessee is in your future, too. You're coming to the Ryman on the 29th. Katie Pruitt is going to open those shows. And we mentioned Blood Harmony in your Grammy Award win. Brand new album in January, and that's when the work begins. You're out there promoting this album, Bloom, which is doing great things for you. And I chose Little Bit as my pick of the week this week.
Thank you.
You are quite welcome.
Thank you. We're real proud of that record. We worked real hard on it, and being able to carry all of these songs out on the road has felt really natural. It's been a great year thus far supporting this record.
And
amazing.
you wrote most of it? I know Tyler Bryant was a co-writer on that particular song.
Yes, sir. That's my husband. All the songs on the record were written by either Megan and I together or Megan and I and my husband Tyler. So it was a real family affair.
And he's in the music business, right?
Yes, he is. He's a Texan. So he's a Texas blues musician, and we met about 10 years ago and just became real fast friends. And we feel very lucky to have found a kindred spirit in the way that we all feel and engage with music. We're all lifers.
You're talking about your parents and their influence and the music they played. Who would some of those artists be? What would some of those songs be?
Oh, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, a lot of traditional country. Ooh. They were actually the folks who played us Alison Krauss for the very first time when we were little kids. I believe that was actually one of our first concerts, was going to see Jerry Douglas with Alison Krauss when we were small. So they were listening to stuff all over the map.
And where'd you go see them? Where were they playing? You remember?
Well, I was about 3 or 4, so I think it was somewhere. If I remember correctly, it was an outdoor summer concert series somewhere over in East Tennessee because our parents were in Knoxville for many years.
So let's go back to that night we met in the Billy Gibbons tribute show at the Ryman Auditorium. The Opry House. Again, you're coming to the Ryman May 29th. What do you remember about that night? Because it was a who's who, including Eric Church, the chief.
It's true. I was really nervous that night.
Yeah.
Yeah. The nerves were taut. But it ended up, it's silly because always, you can catastrophize things and be like, I'm going to play so bad or I'm not going to be cool enough. And everyone was just so relaxed. And it wound up being such an incredibly fun night. And oh my gosh, all of the guitar licks. All of them.
It's a who's who of like guitar players, heroes.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, talking about rock and roll legends, too, because I was listening to a Larkin Poe playlist on Spotify the other day, and it came up with Ringo. You guys got to play with Ringo.
We did at the Ryman.
And are you touring with him, did I see?
No, sir. No tours, but we got to do those 2 nights at the Ryman, which was incredibly special. That was a very... I can't even describe it. A surreal experience.
Very
beyond surreal.
It's kind of like the Del McCurry invite. Yes.
Precisely. Yes, absolutely. We're in.
Please and thank you.
Well, we're going to feature Mockingbird first in this segment and give us a backstory on that song.
Yeah. This is a song.
And we're going to play it.
You're going to play it.
We're going to play it, right?
Yeah, we've got it.
Sure.
We got
that
the
would be
recorded
great.
We'll play
version.
that first and then have you do another one or two on the
Okay,
other
that
side
sounds
of the break.
great.
All right, so
this song is really important to us. It was written, I think, I feel like so often when writers are in the middle of their experience and you're writing a song, sometimes you don't know exactly what you're talking about. But in hindsight, you really have a sense of what you were processing in the writing process. And this is definitely one of those songs for us. It's become a real mantra. For many, many years, it's taken us, 15 years to really find our song. And it's great to be able to now, with a lot of confidence, sing the song that we've written. And I think it's definitely Mockingbird, yeah.
Larkin Poe, the Level Sisters are here. Rebecca and Megan on Coffee, Country, and Cody. And here's Mockingbird. All over the world, WSM Radio. You're watching on Circle Country Television.
Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Larkin Poe in studio with us this morning. The release of Bloom, their new album and their tour. And in support of that tour, pulled up those dates a little bit ago. The 24th, they will be at the Del Fest celebration with Del McCurry, Opry star, Bluegrass Hall of Famer. The Traveling McCurrys will be there as well, and that's Cumberland, Maryland. Then on the 29th, they're at the Ryman Auditorium. Katie Pruitt will open that show. And then, what's it like to go back and play Atlanta at the Eastern on May 30th, Memorial Day, actual traditional Memorial Day?
It's going to be a sweet time. We spent a lot of time growing up in Atlanta, and so a lot of our family is going to come out to that show. And it's a little bittersweet because that's starting to wrap up the U.S. leg of the Bloom tour. It's been a really great run, being able to get out and play these songs on the road. It's felt so great.
So where are you going internationally, Megan?
All over Europe. We'll be in the UK. We'll be Scandinavia. Everywhere. It's going to be about 6 weeks long in the fall.
You've traveled internationally before?
Yeah, we've ended up doing a lot of touring over in Europe. They're super supportive of American roots music there.
Well, what are you going to do? So many comparisons to you guys and the Allman Brothers sound. Were they hugely influential, being Georgia girls growing up, listening to that?
Oh, yeah. Our dad was always spinning the Allman Brothers for us growing up. They're heroes of ours.
I saw on I think it was a Reddit post, somebody said, if the Allman Brothers had 2 little sisters, it would be Larkin Poe.
We love that.
Nice.
We love that.
Well, listen, the greatest guitar intro in the history of mankind is Dwayne Allman
It's the
playing
best.
the intro to Statesboro Blues live at the Fillmore.
Easy, hands down.
It still blows me away every time I hear it, all these decades later.
Absolutely.
We talked about Jerry Douglas and his influence on you, meeting Alison Krauss and seeing them for the first time, one of your first concerts. How well do you know Jerry?
I've had the opportunity to get to know him pretty well. My husband, Mike Seal, plays in his band. So, Jerry was always a hero of mine from like early teens on. That's why I picked up dobro. That's why I started playing slide guitar. And to be able to get to know him has been a true joy. He's just an amazing player, an amazing person.
Who was that person for you, Rebecca?
I have to say, I don't know that I've gotten to meet my hero. One of the big inspirations for me was an artist by the name of Chris Whitley. And he passed away right around the time that I was born, so I never got to cross paths with him. But Chris Whitley is an incredible, underrated Houston-based blues artist who wrote what I would describe as junkyard poetry. Real good. But we did get to meet Tom Waits once, and that's a close second for me, too. So that was really cool.
That's
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
What are you going to play first?
Well, I think keeping it in sort of that almond vibe, we should do one of the first singles off the record. It's a song called Easy Love Part 1. And I mentioned earlier that my husband's from Texas, and he's from a little town called Paris, Texas, where in fact there is an Eiffel Tower. They've built a replica Eiffel Tower in Paris.
They had a movie
They had a
called
little
Paris,
movie
Texas.
with Ry Cooder doing the soundtrack, and it's the best.
Harry Dean Stanton, I think.
It
was the lead actor.
That's
in that.
right.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful movie. Beautiful movie.
Yeah.
But they of course, because they are Texans, they put a cowboy hat on top. So I wanted to write all about where my husband comes from. So this is Easy Love Part 1. 2.
You know what I love so much is the way the two of you look at each other with smiling faces and mutual admiration. It just warms your heart when you watch you guys on stage, or
Thank you.
on our Assembly Food Hall stage in this case. Yeah, what's running through your mind, Megan, when you look over there at her?
I mean, I think we're just riding a musical wave together. There is so much nonverbal communication because we're so close. We have
Yeah.
a lot of like twin energy between us. So sometimes it's that I maybe hit a bum note, or we're just like having like a laugh at each other. But it's really fun.
Listen, Bill, I want to tell you and our listeners this. If you just want to hear more of that, there's a whole YouTube playlist of them covering like classic rock songs. Just the two of them with guitars and harmonies. It is amazing.
Didn't you say they
it's
did
on like
something-
in our house every night, pretty much?
Didn't you see that they were out in the backyard doing something?
Yeah, I saw a Facebook video. Really, what helped me fall in love with these two about 6 months ago. I had never heard of you guys until Bloom came out, and I don't know how I've missed you for 15 years because it's like my favorite kind of music. But no, seriously, I saw a Facebook video where they were harmonizing in the backyard to their song called "Fool Out of Me" that's on the album, and so that's now my favorite song on the album because of that little Facebook video.
Thank you.
Well, Rebecca and Megan, the Level Sisters are here. Larkin Poe, which we wrap up with the history of the name. 4 great-grandfathers ago
That's right.
was related to Edgar Allan Poe.
That's
so
correct.
so 4 great grandfathers back, Larkin Poe, Haskew Poe was a cousin of Edgar Allan Poe. We'll claim it. It's distant, but we'll claim it.
And what was his full name?
Larkin Haskew Poe.
Now, that says something about the South. Just
Isn't that a beautiful name?
It is.
And right off 75, the Chickamauga battlefield, that you can actually go and still see the Poe family cabin, and that's where Larkin lived. So we've been able to actually walk through the grounds of where our people came up. It's pretty cool.
special. Well, thanks for sharing your gift with us in the world this morning on WSM and Circle Country Television. Glide Magazine just wrote an article about you guys when you're in Boston. You played the Wilbur Theater there. They said, Larkin Poe offering a master class in dynamic shifts in storytelling, which is what they've done this morning here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you again soon. Bill Cody, Zach Bennett, Annie and I, our studio director, Jeff Roberts in Master Control. We'll be right back to wrap it up.